I'm just minding my own business, just coming up out of my slumber, just coming up out of my sleep. And hey everybody, this is James from That Free Project. Remember to subscribe, share, and like this video. I appreciate all the new followers, all the new subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber, you haven't joined the Free Agent Army, go ahead and click that subscribe button and go ahead and join in on the conversation, as we like to say. And let's get right into this story for me that happened this past Friday. Now, I really didn't get into it. I really didn't go, I had to restrain myself very hard. Because, okay, so I'm just minding my own business, just coming up out of my slumber, just coming up out of my sleep. And I'm lying there and just trying to, stretch out the day and so forth, stretch out the night, excuse me. And so then I go and I reach over to my phone to check what time it was. And for some reason, I started checking notifications as well. So as I'm checking the notifications, I started to see some stuff in the Twitter feed. And so I click on the Twitter feed and I see that there's a certain bishop in Atlanta. There's a certain bishop in Atlanta that was just tweeting out some foolishness and doing some race baiting on a good old Friday morning. And I was just like, I wasn't really having it that morning. So what I started going through his stuff, and I was just looking at some of the replies, looking at some of the tweets, and started looking at some of the stuff that was being said. And it was a whole bunch of race baiting and hatred and vitriol towards the President Trump and so forth, and how he hates this, and how President Trump is a racist, and then how they're talking about abortion and how being pro-choice, and not to misconstrue what he was saying, because he wasn't saying pro-choice in the choice to actually have an abortion, but the choice to do right or wrong. So I just want to make that clear. So I'm not saying this person is, and I'm not even going to name the person. I'm going to let you go ahead and tumble those, roll the dice, and let you figure that one out. But anyway, so this bishop had all this Twitter stuff going on, and some of his followers were, they were jumping in on the people who were trying to contest him and so forth. And I was like, this is getting out of control. I don't understand what's really going on here. And I guess with me, I wanted to jump in so hard, but I'm like, no, I'm going to respect the person. I'm not gonna jump in on it and get it all up in the man's grill via Twitter. Well, personally for me, I think this stuff is sort of silly myself. Doing social media fights, I don't get that. I don't have social media fights with people. Here's the point I want to make. What this is really about is is about pastors, and specifically African American pastors. If your pastor, which concerns me, because we are so caught up on the race issue, and I'm not going to get into whether people like or do not like Donald Trump. What my main focus of this is, don't fall for the bait of racism. Don't fall for the bait, because if your pastor is waking up and getting you riled up and getting you all hot under the collar concerning race and the president and this and that, then I'll always want to ask the question. So if it wasn't Trump, what was the alternative? And the alternative was a woman who supported late-term abortions, a woman who pushed the homosexual agenda, who quoted Margaret Sanger, who was a known eugenicist and racist, and continued to, and called young black men, what does she call them? Super predators. Yeah, super predators. So, and then pushed, like I said, pushed the gay agenda. So now, with that being said, and I'm not hating. I'm not hating at all. Not at all. I'm not trying to hate on anybody. All I'm saying is that if your pastor's waking up talking about race and this and that, and so then you have to ask the pastor, then what was the alternative? So if the alternative was Hillary Clinton, then you have to ask yourself, why would Hillary Clinton be the alternative and be a suitable alternative to Donald Trump, when everything that is of her party and what they're doing right now? Check out California and with AB 2943 and what's happening to the Christian community there on that side. Just check it out. Understand that if it wasn't Donald, then what was the alternative? And if you think the alternative was better, then that concerns me as a believer. And you call yourself a believer because you have to look at what was on the other side of the coin. You know, again, I already said, you know, I'm neither for this one or for that one, to be honest. But if in choosing, you know, I'm not saying what Donald does has done in his past or some of the things that he says now. I'm not saying that I support all of that, or am I trying to make a moral judgment towards him as in his character. But what I am saying is that when it comes to social politics and things that can directly affect the church, so what was the alternative? It was Hillary Clinton, a Democrat who is pushing an agenda that is basically silencing the church. If you really look at the whole big picture, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And so then what was so funny is that my mentor called me and we got to talking and laughing. I was like, guess who up earlier this morning tweeting and talking about a whole bunch of race foolishness? And I told him who it was, and he was like, that man, I wish Papa, yeah, but anyway, so we're not going to get into all that. But yeah, so my thing is your bishop and your pastor, I mean, if y'all just sitting there crying and boohooing and waiting on somebody to give you an apology for all the racism that has happened within the American culture and American history, then you're wasting your time. It's time to get up and know no one's pushing aside the pain that we've experienced as a people. But what I am saying is that you can only hold on to pain so long, or it's going to hold you down for the rest of your life. And you'll be looking for someone else to blame instead of looking at the situation and saying, okay, well, you know what? Let me gather myself together and get myself up and get myself moving forward in God. Because at the end of the day, no one can hold you back when God got his hand on you. Remember that. All right, so this is James from the I'm Free Project. Remember, as always, Jesus Christ is Lord. Not your bishop, not your pastor, not your first lady, not Donald Trump, not president, former president Obama, none of them. Jesus Christ is Lord. Holla.